In this video, we will be talking about process safety in a chemical plant and the importance behind it. According to the American Institution of Chemical Engineers, process safety is a disciplined framework for managing the integrity of operating systems and processes handling hazardous substances by applying good design principles, engineering, and operating practices. It deals with the prevention and control of incidents that have the potential to release hazardous materials or energy. Such incidents can cause toxic effects, fire, or explosion and could ultimately result in serious injuries, property damage, lost production, and environmental impact. Following the Bhopal tragedy in India, the AICHE formed the Center for Chemical Process Safety as an industry alliance to share and enhance process safety expertise in the industry. One of the early CCPS activities was the creation of the Safety and Chemical Engineering Education Program to enhance teaching of process safety in the university chemical engineering curriculum. Process safety has gained corporate importance. Process safety expertise has extended into a general skill set and industry-wide guideline. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration issued the Process Safety Management of Highly Hazardous Chemical Standards, which had 14 main elements. Nevertheless, many organizations are still challenged with effectively implementing the management systems they have developed. In 2005, the Center for Chemical Process Safety introduced the concept of risk-based process safety as a means to overcome what seemed like stagnation in the process safety journey. We need process safety in order to reduce risks and sustain value, to prevent major disasters involving catastrophic releases of toxic, reactive, flammable, or explosive chemicals. Plants have been getting larger and more complex, thus introducing more process risks and requiring a broader and deeper approach to managing these risks. Weaknesses in compliance with the regulations and failure of a compliance-based approach to process safety to prevent major accidents, less public tolerance for major accidents, potential impact of a major disaster, and to manage the increasing amount of people, environmental regulations, and business growth. Process safety management is a regulation put into motion by OSHA that looks at all processes that involve handling, using, storing, moving, or manufacturing highly hazardous chemicals. All aspects of how highly hazardous chemicals are interacted with are contained within process safety management regulations. Process safety management was designed as an analytical tool that helps companies prevent harmful, highly hazardous chemicals from being mishandled or released. The result of OSHA's regulations can be broken down into 14 main elements that comprise the entire capacity of process safety management: management of change, operating procedures, training, contractors, pre-startup safety review, compliance audit, incident investigation, employee participation, mechanical integrity, process safety information, process hazard analysis, trade secrets, hot work, and emergency planning and response. When conjoined correctly, these elements in a process safety management program should be able to prevent fires, explosions, and the release of hazardous chemicals that could pose a safety risk to workers or the general public. Companies should focus on each of the above elements both as a whole and as interlinked with the other elements. Each element either contributes to other elements or requires other elements to be completed in order to leverage the element's information. PSM requires a great deal of interdependency between elements, and understanding how they relate to and work together is critical to be successful. In the diagram shown are the 14 elements describing the process safety management. For management of change, this includes changes to a process that must be evaluated to determine if there will be any impacts on the health and safety of the employees. For operating procedures, employers must develop and implement written operating procedures. As far as training, employers must train employees on hazards and procedures. For contractors, all contractors working on or near highly hazardous chemicals must be trained on emergency procedures and other relevant aspects of the PSM program. The pre-startup safety review must be conducted for new and modified facilities before operations can begin. Compliance audits must be conducted and reported at reasonable intervals. Thorough investigations must be completed any time there is an incident associated to the process. Employee participation must involve workers in PSM programs. Process equipment and machinery must be designed and installed correctly to uphold mechanical integrity. Employers must develop written safety information before conducting APHA, which the process hazard analysis. Employers must identify, evaluate, and control hazardous processes. For trade secrets, employers must provide all information necessary to comply with PSM standards regardless of the trade secret status of the information. Hot work permits must be issued for any hot work operations taking place near the process, and employees must be trained on emergency planning and response procedures. Potential plant hazards include properties of the chemicals, which could mean toxicity, flammability, reactivity, and the biohazard, as well as equipment and process, which includes high pressure, high temperature, and mechanical, or procedures for normal process operation, vessel entry, and hot work permits, as well as management for performance monitoring, safety culture, and hazard identification. Preventative safeguards prevent an initiating event from proceeding to a defined undesirable incident. It is also known as a protection layer. The preventative safeguard stops the incident from proceeding. Some examples include basic process control and alarm systems, operator response to an alarm or process conditions, pressure relief systems, consistent maintenance, interlocks, emergency shutoff valves and cooling systems, grounding and bonding to prevent static accumulation, and normal testing and inspections. A process control system includes a data collection and distribution system that collects and stores data from various data sources, each of which may use its own proprietary manner of acquiring or generating the data in the first place. Chemical plants are now built to have large number of integrated and interlinked process units so as to optimize production and reduce waste. When an abnormal situation occurs, the automation system alerts the operators through alarms and help orient them to the new state. A relief system is an emergency system for discharging gas during abnormal conditions by manual or controlled means or by automatic pressure relief valves from a pressurized vessel or piping system to the atmosphere to relieve pressures in excess of the maximum allowable working pressure. The main purpose of regular maintenance is to ensure that all equipment required for production is operating at 100% efficiency at all times. An interlock system is a system that detects out of limits or abnormal conditions or improper sequences and either halts further action or starts corrective action. An emergency shutdown valve is an actuated valve designed to stop the flow of a hazardous fluid upon the detection of a dangerous event. This provides protection against possible harm to people, equipment, or the environment. The emergency cooling systems are designed so that even in the case of reactor coolant loss, or when both ends of a live steam pipe are broken, the reactor is cooled and the decay heat can be removed safely. The purpose of the equipment grounding or bonding conductor is to provide the low impedance fault current path to the electrical supply source to facilitate the operation of circuit overcurrent protection devices in order to remove dangerous ground fault voltage on conductive parts. Like consistent maintenance, testing and inspections also ensure that all equipment required for production is operating at 100% efficiency and that the product design and installation meets the requirements of professional judgment. Overall, it is everyone's responsibility to help protect our people and environment. By putting systems in place to manage process safety, it will help reduce the potential for preventing major disasters involving the consequences of catastrophic releases of toxic, reactive, flammable, or explosive chemicals. The question you should be asking yourself now is, how can I integrate process safety management discipline effectively to help me manage exposure in my organization? And as the AICHE Code of Ethics states, hold paramount the safety, health, and welfare of the public and protect the environment in performance of their professional duties.